Hello and welcome to Get Into Games on Air, a podcast about board games and the people who play them. Today is a special bonus pod, and joining me, as always, is Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello.
You right?
Yes, I am Craig.
Good.
I realised I didn't introduce myself, and I was worried that people would forget who I was.
Okay.
I have a fear of being forgotten.
Do you?
Yeah. And I know that all I have to do is delete my Instagram account and I will then be forgotten forever.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Do you think it would be that easy to forget you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it would literally be that easy.
Fair enough.
Which is a really nice way to put onto today's topic. Hooray! So this is a little bonus pod because this week is Mental Health Awareness Week. And I think it's quite a nice subject to broach. We have a lot of, in the board game community, a lot of things going on. UKGE, conventions, expos, all these, which is the same thing. All of these big things which brings a lot of stress to a lot of people, a lot of worry, a lot of, oh, why can't I be as popular as those people? Why can't I be seen? Why can't I be heard? Why do X, Y, and Z get all these things and love showered upon them and I don't get anything? You know, things that people could find hard. And especially when you're moving into convention season, you're going into a building of 65,000 people and you are one small person in that whole bubble. And there's a lot of people. I think it's just about building a community around positivity and happiness.
Absolutely.
What would you like to say on the matter?
So I think there are lots of things to kind of touch upon in this little episode. The theme of Mental Health Awareness Week is community. And I think that the thing that we should celebrate about our lovely hobby is the community. And we have certainly found the community to be very welcoming. We have found many new friends along the way in our little community. And, that should not be forgotten. And I think sometimes in the noise and the anxiety of situations, sometimes we forget to have a little bit of perspective on things and just appreciate what our hobby brings us. I think if we were to start at the beginning, I was always kind of into board games, and you I think played some board games, like Hero Quest and things.
Yeah.
And Blood Bowl.
Warhammer-y stuff.
With your family.
More.
Yeah. When we got together, we enjoyed board games together. They were things that we did with our family, and
we did socially with our friends. And
I look back fondly at my childhood, and I think, a lot of my fun memories of being with my families are around board games and, the experiences they brought us. And then we had our daughter and we moved, and suddenly all our friends who we used to spend our time with weren't around. And there was a bit of a void, I would say, probably. And had it not been for board games or our enjoyment of board games together, I feel like our mental health might have suffered a bit because we didn't have that sort of extended family community to spend time with. Obviously you get sleepless nights and the joys that parenting brings, and I think that board games kind of lifted our spirits. It was something to do together. We enjoyed spending time together, playing board games, and then this whole kind of world opened up to us.
I definitely think like I remember like the distinct memories that board gaming brings to like good memories and like sleep deprived memories. Like I remember like Pandemic Legacy we played, which was again one of our favorite board game experiences ever. And I still think it's the best legacy game in the world ever made ever. But part of that memory is that we played that because our youngest daughter was just born, and we were literally playing that as we were kind of awake in the middle at all hours of the night because she wouldn't sleep, or we had to have her on us, kind of thing. So it was something to do, and it's all part of that memory kind of thing. It's nice.
Yeah, and I think I touched upon this, I think, on the Meeple to Meeple episode, but we kind of not lost all our friends because we're still in touch with them, but lost the ability to be with them on a more regular basis. And thanks to you getting into kind of the content creation side of board gaming, we met other people doing a similar thing. And I would think one of the greatest joys of being part of the board game hobby is the amount of friends that we now have that I never expected to be able to make in, not later years because we're not that old, but in our middle ages maybe, because we're not going out to pubs and things like that where we would meet people. But it's been a great opportunity to meet people from all kind of walks of life, with a common shared goal, to just enjoy board games, and that for me has boosted my mental health, and I know yours as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it just gives us so many more people to talk to, and often people are going through the same things as you, or even if they're not, they kind of understand where you're coming from. And
there's a lot of sounding boards, and that's what's great about the community. People are willing to listen, whether they're just on the other end of the internet, on the other side of the world, and you never literally never met these people in person, but you can still talk to each other, sound off to each other, and really like speak to each other as though you've known each other forever. And it's kind of like, I know there's people in different parts of the world that I speak to on a regular basis and touch base, and it'd be like, oh, how are you doing? And that kind of thing. It's just like a nice build of like relationships and friendships that we're building.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that sense of community and belonging is really strong in our community. And something that I know that, our friends like PJ want to continue to build. We want to continue to build by offering like Mollycon and things where we can all get together and enjoy each other's company. But for us, like that's, I would say, the board games themselves are joyous to play.
Yeah.
But second to that are the people who we get to play them with.
I think the board games are almost secondary to the people. Like the people are the most important people to be around. But you're having a laugh and you're just having fun with something, and that's kind of really helping you get out of a jam. You could be having a really crappy day at work and a really bad week or whatever, but you can just get to the table, put down a big tree, grab a load of squirrels, connect some wood, and you're in a different world. You're a different headspace. You are just enjoying what's happening with the people around you. So not only the board games take you out of things, your friends lift you up as well.
Let's talk a little bit about the games and, immersing yourselves in those kind of worlds, because I did talk a little bit on Meeple to Meeple about it feels like playing a board game or immersing yourself in a board game is like reading a good book. There are so many board games now that are on so many different topics and, areas of life that you can pick almost, anything that suits you and find a board game related to it. But you can go off, I'm thinking things like Nemesis, you're in deep space, fighting aliens, Escape to the Return to
Dark Tower.
Return to the Dark Tower. You're fighting in a fantasy world, that's kind of decaying or whatever. Like you said, Everdell, you're just hunting and gathering, your anthropomorphic animals, just living a lovely, cozy life, and whatever whatever your distraction is, or you want your distraction to be, there is something out there for everyone, I would say.
Yeah.
But I do love particularly those games that feel very story driven.
Yeah.
And
I think a game that if you are particularly a fan of, it's always good to get you out of a funk to try and play something that you love. Like, that's going to get you in a good mood. So it will always like Everdell. If I'm ever in a funk, I will most of the time try to play Everdell, or I'll try and play maybe Thunder Road Vendetta so I can imagine that cars are other people. But I just think there's some joy that they bring out of you that you can't be angry, you can't be upset. You get out of a different mindset with the games, and that's the beauty of the hobby and the beauty of these incredible artists and designers and publishers that create these games and create these worlds. So really, it's like it's a doff of the cap to them, people that transport you into this world, whether it is through art, whether it is through design, whether it is through mechanics, whether it is through story. That's really something that any game designer, anyone, whether you are a game designer of one game that's just funded on Kickstarter and is going to sell to 20 people, or you are someone who's sold millions of copies of a game about looking at birds, you should just be proud of what you can do to bring people's moods up.
Yeah, because I think it's really hard, isn't it? Well, certainly my job, it's sort of never ending, and I could sit of an evening and keep working on stuff, but it's really important to kind of tear yourself away. And I think that the board games are a good distraction, because I will stop work and I will be like, no, like, I'm going to play this game, and then just like put your phone aside. And sometimes like the most cozy evenings are where actually we don't make any content.
Yeah,
I just play a game because we want to play a game together, and it doesn't need to be about doing it for anybody else. You're just playing the game because I love to play games, and I think sometimes that's really refreshing when you just...
Yeah, I get the excitement of sharing a game, and I do it because I'm like excited to be like, this is amazing, and I really want people to see it, and I get that. But I just think there is something to say about just sit with the game and play the game and just forget about everything. Take your phone off, put it to one side, or put some music on your phone and leave it to one side. Because music and board games is a whole other episode that I definitely am going to go into.
Actually, that's a really good thing for another episode, because we've just sort of recently started doing that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what kind of music. Like, sometimes there's a music that matches the game. Like, we have often played Thunder Road Vendetta, and there is someone's made a playlist on Spotify for Thunder Road Vendetta.
We played the Star Wars Unlimited. Oh, no, we didn't. We played Star Wars Outer Rim with the Star Wars soundtrack that suddenly randomly had Pirates of the Caribbean in the middle, and I don't know how that happened.
I think it just skipped onto another thing. But we played Tangarden with some like Japanesey music in the background, and I think that helps to just kind of, you lose yourself in the game then.
Yeah, I think there's something, this is a music discussion more than a board game discussion, but I think there's something so emotive about music and the power of music. Not necessarily the words, but the sound and the way music distracts your mind and fills you with like feelings. Music is an incredibly powerful tool for every walk of life, whether it's you're just wanting to listen to music on a bus, or whether you're traveling. Music is a huge thing that helps people's mental health and that kind of thing. And putting that with board games, it's just a perfect connection.
Chef's kiss. I think obviously we can touch a little bit on, there are some downsides to our not necessarily our hobby, but how, the content creation side of board
Yeah.
gaming, there is almost a feeling that you need to keep up with, Mrs. Jones down the road.
There's a fuel, isn't there? It's like it. I know I certainly like. I've been very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful for everything that has ever happened, anything I've ever been sent, and any publisher I've ever worked with, or anyone I've ever had the privilege and honor of working with. And I'm just very grateful that they've chosen, that they thought my little account, and it still is a little account. It's just little old me and you now, more so, doing stuff for fun, just having fun, and it's been a great honor. I do feel like it's almost like a drug, though, when you start receiving things and you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Someone thought my work was this good and I can do that, and I'll make some content for them. I'll make a funny video. I'll do something for them. And then I think I've even felt it from time to time, not recently, but I think when I was early doors, you do feel like, I've had something sent, but now there's nothing there. Now I'm not getting anything. Oh, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong? Is my content bad? So other people are getting stuff. What have I done wrong? What do I need to do to improve to be able to, which is absolutely rubbish, because you should never feel like that. But I've definitely have had that like emotive feeling before that's just gone, oh, why am I not chosen? Which is ridiculous for me to say, to be fair. And like,
but I think a lot of people feel that way. I think that it's difficult when your job is to create content, and people are sending you things, or you're buying things, or creating content. It's just that keeping up all of the time of trying to better yourself and improve, your follower count, improve your numbers, etc.
Yeah.
That sometimes the noise distracts from why we're really here.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for our mental health, certainly. When we get like that in our head, we sort of take a step back and try and, we've got each other, so it's quite easy, but like to remind ourselves that the whole reason we do this is because we love the board games, and we have, a huge wealth of board games. And also, like, I'm a bit of I really think that actually we should celebrate. I know there's this whole cult of the new, and that you want the new board game, and I know that's the only way our industry is going to stay alive, but I'm like a bit more interested in like going back to those kind of classic games, not Monopoly, but classic games where things started off. And
it's like madness to think like I really want to go back to the old games, from 2001. It's like, what are you talking about, Craig? That's not a long time ago. It is.
No, but I think we shouldn't forget
like
all the creative energy that's been put into
no
so many games along the way, and we get caught up in like, well, we must know what the next new thing is, and this is a bit what's the word, where it's because we've just put out an episode about UKG, and it's a bit like kind of we're excited about the new thing.
We are excited about the new things, but there is definitely like why we need to start celebrating the 500 games that you've got on your Calyx that have not been played for a year. And
we haven't got 500 games on our Calyx that haven't been played.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, that was over exaggerating. Okay, concentrate on that shelf of shame.
Never over exaggerate. That's bad for you.
It's always bad. But yeah, I think there definitely is that, and that cult of the new makes people go, I need the next new thing. I need the next new thing. I need it.
But actually, they're probably variations on a theme, aren't they? And whilst it's lovely to have the next new thing, we, all of us in this industry sort of do have a wealth of games behind us that we actually can enjoy. We can still create content about. And actually there's nothing better than kind of buying a game that you really waiting. So I'll hark back to because we've spoken about this a little bit on the previous podcast, but Middle Ages, there's nothing better than waiting for a game, buying it with your own money, because that you can't replace that kind of, I've earned this money and now I'm choosing to spend my money in this way.
Absolutely.
And then getting it and playing it at, four players, and then realizing this is that, it's a really good game, really enjoyable. Oh, and I've spent my money wisely because I'm going to play this many, many times. That getting review copies and things doesn't replace that feeling of like that good feeling that, choosing a board game.
Yeah. But I do think and things about the Middle Ages came out at UKG last year. We never got a chance. We didn't get it.
We didn't even play it.
We didn't have a chance to find it, but it looked amazing. We played it once on BGA, didn't understand it. Then we bought it recently, and it's amazing. And it's that time. But then there's the other thing that's really bad for your mental health and stuff like that. It's we've got UKG just around the corner. There is a highly anticipated game that is on my list of the first episode I did this year. This is a highly anticipated game for me. It was King of Monsters from Respiration Games, which has just been announced today as of recording on Kickstarter, and a Battle Monsters, sorry. And it is £300. If I want that game in all its glory, including the Kickstarter exclusive monster and the game, that's going to cost me £300. That is a huge investment for something that I was really, really excited for, to suddenly be like, I'm going to miss out on that. But I'm not going to spend £300 on that game. Yes, I have spent silly money on games over time. Yes, understood. Return to the Dark Tower is sitting on my shelf.
Although I don't think that is a huge, because the amount of times we played it, I think
your cost per play will come down, but you can't guarantee that this game will be as good or as loved as that. Yeah. And that that fear, that FOMO, that's not great for people either. To have that panic that, I'm going to miss out on something that's so good that everybody's going to be talking about. So in August next year, everyone's going to receive their Kickstarter, and I'm going to sit there going, oh.
I think that's sometimes the, things like Kickstarter nowadays aren't necessarily great for our mental health, because that's how they took you in, isn't it? With you won't be able to get this unless you buy it at this moment in this month. And it really forces people's hands. And I guess if you're trying to keep up with the new all the time, then you're in this constant cycle of paying out, and you don't know when you're going to see that.
It's also when they do really short Kickstarters as well. Rather than a month, they're doing 20 days or whatever. That's just rough to make you think those things really quickly. And I think that's something that we just have to think about, and especially when we're posting, and as content creators, posting about those games in August next year, going, look at this big shiny that I've got, and it's okay.
I certainly now think a little bit more about, maybe in the early days of just posting any old thing, just post pictures, post whatever, post what you've been sent, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I think now I'm very conscious of what I post and the effect it might have on other people. And so, consciously making decisions that I think, will I post this? Will I not post this? Obviously you can't ever please everybody, but I wouldn't be true to myself if I was putting out content that I thought was just look, I got this, or whatever it was.
Look at the
shinies. I feel like our role is to showcase our hobby, but I think it helps my mental health to think that, nobody is interested necessarily in me.
No.
They're interested in the games, and I think that's really important for me to remember. The games are the stars of the show.
Yeah.
And we're just there to kind of
show them along the way.
show them off and hopefully, boost somebody else's mental health because they bought a game that they love and can enjoy with their friends and family. On that note, shall we talk a little bit about, community days and meeting up with friends? Because that for me, whenever that happens, and we kind of, I don't know, every month we might have one board game meetup. Maybe some months we have like multiples over across a weekend or across a couple of weekends. But I don't know about you, but I always feel like this rush of adrenaline and it really boosts me for the rest of the week if I've had.
Yeah, I find it's really nice. Well, there's something to look forward to, and also, it's just a really nice feeling to be able to just have people over or go somewhere and play some games and enjoy that experience together. I think it's always a really good boost. And
getting to know people, because we've had people over recently who we haven't spent a great deal of time with, and actually, now they're like, oh, can we come over again or can we meet up again?
Yeah.
And it's really lovely. But just actually outside of our hobby, getting to know people, what jobs they do and what interests they have and other interests other than board games. Because the board games bring us together, but then there's more to every human being. There's more to.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful seeing,
people.
Different sides to people and what they have to bring to the table. And I think...
Yeah, seeing what's the people behind the Instagram account, not just the people in the Instagram account, which is always really important. I mean, the community is great. I mean, I've never had an issue really with the community as a whole. I think everyone's I don't know, amenable and happy and nice to chat. I think sometimes things happen like at conventions and those games days where there's so many people, there's games going on, there's only so many hours in the day, and you just literally miss people or don't get to play games. And I feel really bad sometimes. I will feel like terrible when I'll see someone and it's just literally, I'll see you, I'll come back, I'll see you again in a minute, and then you turn around and then it's gone. It's
almost like a wedding, isn't it? Like I remember our wedding, and this is a bit of an aside, but like there were people who I barely said hi to, and they must have been there all day, but we were busy, And sometimes I feel like that at conventions. You see somebody and think, oh, I'd love to play a game with you, but, either it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack or you just run out of time. And it's not for any ill intention or, not wanting to, but it's just...
Which is kind of why I will never promise to play a game at a convention, because I can't, I'm not going to say, well, definitely meet up and play this game at this time, because I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know where you're going to be. I don't know what's going to happen. It's impossible to do that, and it's only going to let you down or let someone down if you can't. I just really think that's kind of... It's gutting when you can't see everybody and chat to everybody, but also, and I'm sure it's gutting for other people when they're like, oh, you said you were going to meet me, but you didn't come. Okay. But so which is why it's kind of, it's tough. And I understand that.
Don't overpromise, because that affects other people's mental health.
Yeah. Under promise and over deliver.
That's it. No, I think, if you get the chance to, organise your own board game meetups or get some people around the table, do it, because it's just such an enjoyable experience. They're some of my favourite days. And also now, I'm sure our kids' mental health is being boosted because they now have friends who are into games as well. And, when our friends come over with their children, then our children get to play with them and life is better for them too.
But and also, it's okay not to play a game if you don't feel like it.
I was going to say,
that's fine.
So we did a challenge. Was it last year or the year before? It might have been last
year. It was the year
before.
Where
we had to play a game. Well, we didn't have to. Nobody told us we had to, but we wanted
Board
to
Game
play...
Stats app told us.
Yeah.
Told us with stern, angry words.
We set a challenge where we would play a game every day.
Yeah.
Or every night, or whatever it was.
At least a game every single day, yeah.
And it just in the end, that was detrimental to our mental health because actually we felt slavishly like we had to play a game. And like you said, sometimes it's just okay to put the wrestling on and watch the wrestling, or
veg on the couch,
to watch a movie, or to even just, sometimes it's okay to just flick through your phone and just be, you don't, just because, we have board game related social media accounts and, we're into that, doesn't mean it has to be the be all and the end all. And sometimes it's okay to meet your board game friends and go do something else. Like we've been to Legoland with some friends and
went to the zoo. Yes, we took board games.
We went to a National Trust place, but actually, if you don't fancy playing a board game, that is absolutely fine, and you don't have to play it just because, well, I've got to make content or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tricky to kind of manage your mental health. I think with I suppose it's almost like a job, isn't it? And with every job there are ups and downs, and it's trying to navigate those. But I do think that the games and the people help an awful lot. And I know that we are both so grateful for the community and everybody who has done something to help boost our mental health and make, anybody who's ever said a nice comment or said hi at a convention or played a game with us or, come on a podcast with us and let us rabbit on. We're grateful for all of those interactions.
This is the thing, I mean, content creation is a wonderful thing, but it's also being an online presence is a wonderful thing, but it's also tough. And even I'm incredibly grateful for every comment, every share, every like, every interaction I have. Realistically, I always will look at it and everyone is like, oh, that reel didn't do very well. That only got oh no, my latest post has only got 60 likes. But realistically,
and you'd be like, oh my gosh, that post has got 60 likes.
Yeah, but no, you have to think about it. Yeah. If 60 people walked into my living room, up to me where I was with my camera taking a photograph of a board game and said to me, that's a really good picture. That's really good. If 60 people were in my house, there's not enough room for me. Get out of my house. But that's a huge number. That's an insane amount of people. 60, 10. How many people say you had such a good day at work? When you're at work, how many times does your boss say you did really well today? Yeah. Or how many customers, how many of your colleagues said you were really good today? What you did today was really helpful. It's probably a lot less than the number of likes you get on your social media. So I think look on the bright side.
I think that's the thing with people chasing follows and stuff. I'd like 10 more followers, or I'd like 100 more followers, or I'd like 1,000 more followers, or whatever it is. But actually, if you quantify what if you think about what a follower is, someone has agreed to constantly see your stuff because they like it.
Yeah.
And if you think even one person on a day has decided, because you have to decide, you're not just
press the button.
Randomly doing it.
Yeah.
You have to actively, do something about it. If one person has decided, actually, I will follow that person and receive their content, well, that's almost like some random in the street going, I like your t-shirt.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we're chasing the numbers, but if you actually think about what it is.
Which reminds me, if we can get to 1 million before UKGE, that would be
that's causing everybody's mental health to plummet.
Yeah, I know, it's good fun.
You keep asking, and
I know.
the hashtag gets longer.
The hashtag will always get longer, I promise. It's not the only thing.
But yeah, I think it is, like we said at the beginning, just having a bit of perspective, especially for content creators, don't be a slave to the trends and everything. Do you, and you will shine through. And if people like that, then they like it, and that's great. But it isn't all of you, and there's you are.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's a wonderful person, but everybody has something different to bring, and you don't need to copy people or feel like you need to keep up with people. Just you do the things that make you and happy. And I think I only post content that I want to post, not because I feel like I have to. In fact, I actively kind of back away from things I feel I have to do. Like,
yeah. I mean, I post content that I find fun. I enjoy making stupid content. I enjoy smiling and having a laugh. And I'm sorry to the people that won't be listening to this because they've already decided against me. But they don't like my face. And I apologise for those people. I'm sorry that this is the face I have. I'm sorry that this is the voice I have. I apologise for this being the type of content I make.
For being you.
Exactly. But
people are going to like different things, and that's okay.
That's it. And it's just about being mindful of people's
feelings as well. I think social media, inherently, there's the kind of keyboard warrior sense to it, where you almost feel like, well, you can't see me saying it, so it doesn't hurt. But there are people behind the accounts, and they are real people, and they often have, what is projected on the outside to the social media followers isn't necessarily what's happening behind closed doors. It might look like, loveliness, and they've got a pile of games, but actually, they might be struggling with something themselves. They might have some family issues or money worries or whatever, but it's just being mindful that actually you're not seeing the whole person. And
like essentially what you see,
kind.
You show on social media what you want people to see. You don't show you sitting in your shorts.
I mean, some
doing a podcast.
No. But, we all take pictures with our calyx in the background, but what you can't see is all the dirty washing on the draining board. But, I'm not showing you that because I don't want you to see it. I mean, you might see it.
Yeah.
If I take a picture and it just happens to be in the background, but everybody's going to go searching for that.
There was a video with a dirty washing in the background, yes. Quite sad.
But, we live real lives and we've got kids and, our house is messy sometimes and it annoys us, but what are we going to do because we're working? And it, I think just be kind and realise that, there are people behind the accounts and they do have real lives and they're not like robots who will just take all the comments and be like, sure, that's fine. You can say all those nasty things about me. Not that many people do say nasty things in our hobby, but, it's known to happen occasionally. And it just I always think just be mindful of and what you're saying and why you're saying it.
Everyone's opinion is also valid. Like if you love something, you love something. If you dislike something, you dislike something. That's fine. But there's no point arguing. There's no point fighting over it. There's no point shaking that. I disagree. Why does not everyone agree with me? Because not everyone's going to agree with you. Don't worry about it.
And the world
just don't make someone else's day.
If everybody believes the same thing.
Exactly. Just don't make everyone else's day bad just because you disagree with them. Don't cause
somebody else to have a mental health crisis.
Yeah, just because you disagree or I don't know. But it is definitely a thing that you need to think about. And I mean, in the end, the whole thing the message that we kind of want to bring is just positivity, really, across all platforms of social media and across all walks of what we do. We try to breed positivity and a bit of light and a bit of happiness. And I always say, if I make one person laugh or make one person smile that they've had, change their mood from having a bad mood to a better mood or whatever, if I make one person laugh or one person smile a day, then I've done something.
Yeah.
And that is a tick in the box.
Definitely.
If I make 3 people laugh, then we got a show. We got a show, lads.
But I think just stay calm, enjoy convention season, but just take it at your pace. Don't feel like you have to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Even if you're don't get FOMO because you're not going to a convention. If you choose what makes you and your family happy, and you do you, and you can't go wrong, then just don't chase. I would say don't chase what other people are doing or having or wanting. Just live your own life and do things that make you happy and
do not regret anything. Do not make regrets, because regrets you'll never be able to have a pet badger, and that's just a regret that I have. I'm never going to own a pet badger. Anyway, mainly because they're wild animals and they will rip me apart.
Now we've finished with all the sappy stuff.
Yeah, the badger was the end of that.
Oh, I feel sorry for you.
Thank you.
I would like to say one thing that made my mental health better today.
Okay, maybe one word.
I got a parcel in the post from Shirts and Merch.
They're a sponsor of this podcast.
They are, but we're not going to do a full ad reel for this.
No, not right this second.
But the ad is in what I have to say. So I opened this parcel, and I think there were a few whoops.
There were a few whoops,
and it was very exciting. And the T-shirt is black, and it has purple writing, and it's a Blood on the Clock Tower T-shirt, and it's a Sex and Violence Blood on the Clock Tower T-shirt, and I believe I'm the only one that has one right now.
Yep.
And I was super excited.
It's very cool. It is a very cool T-shirt.
We just said it's not about getting things, but that personally made me very happy because Clock Tower is my favourite game. It's purple, and somebody sent it with love.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate them. So, it made my day, and that was a little mental health boost to what has been quite a stressful day with SATs and whatnot at school. So, sometimes it's the little things and the people thinking of you, and the kindness that people people share.
Definitely.
And I love the people, and they're very dear to my heart, and I'm hoping to meet lots of them at the convention. Yeah.
We shall do that. Yeah, I mean it's those little things that make this community keep going and making people happy, and just those odd messages and those just little jokes and sharing reels and memes and stupid things. That's just...
and Flowering Embers mentioned me for Triwin time.
She did,
and those things are the things that matter. Not getting games and things like that, but the people and the connections and the love that is shared, and I'm very, very grateful.
I haven't been shared,
and you, I'm grateful for you, and all the board games we share,
all the things.
And everything.
You're grateful for me and all the noise that I make in the house. And now I feel like
we're just becoming sappy and we might just go cry in the corner, so we should probably stop.
If you'd like your mental health...
mental health day.
If you'd like your mental health boosted in other ways, you can get yourself a rental service from Rent, Shuffle and Roll. Rent, Shuffle and Roll are a board game rental service where you can rent board game and try board game before you buy board game. And they are known to 100% improve your mental health. If you want 200% improved mental health, use code GITG50 to get 50% off your first month's rental with Rent, Shuffle and Roll. That's 350% better mental health. That's math with the eyes. I did
also say that this podcast was inspired by the lovely Susie at Games with Beanie, who suggested, and I think she's been sort of advocating on her account for positivity as well, and kindness within the community. So, shout out to Susie.
And I do believe we have a little sound bite to play from.
And we will let Susie play us out.
Oh. She's got a violin. Susie.
No, that's
come on in with your violin.
That's Mashy Meatballs with the tiny violin.
Oh, we need Mashy Meat. Oh, no. Oh, so much work. But yes, we shall, because this is a bonus pod, we shall let Susie close us out with a big slam of the door. as long as she remembers to double lock it, because we don't want anyone getting in. And we look forward to speaking to you next week on the next episode of the Get Into Games on Air podcast, episode 50. Are we doing something special for the 50th episode? No plans. No, not a clue. No idea. Maybe we should get our first ever guest back on. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we'll do that before UKG. I don't know. It's the week. Something Badgers. And thank you. And remember to get into better mental health.
Yes.
Just do it. That's how it works.
You can't get into better.
Just get into it. It's like wearing a jumper.
You have to.
It's like wearing a Christmas jumper.
No, you can't get better. I don't know. Remember to be healthy. There we go. Remember to be healthy.
What? Eat some fruit. Yes. Remember to eat your 5 a day.
Mentally healthy.
Look after yourself.
Look after yourself.
Be kind to yourself. In a world full of bumps and that what's it in Zog? What do they say? The world's already too full of bumps and scrapes and stuff.
I don't know.
You know. So she becomes a doctor.
No idea what you're talking
about. Become a doctor.
Poor Susie's waiting though.
Is she? I didn't realise she was here. Sorry, Susie. You can come in the room in a minute. Hello, I'm Susie. I'm ready to say something on the podcast.
Profound. She's
okay,
say
Susie.
Something profound.
Thank you for saying. Come and say something profound. Okay, then. Here I am saying something profound. Thank you, Susie. And take it away. Do you think they fell for it? Do you think they think that was Susie?
No.
I'm not sure.
Although I am laughing at the fact that if we put Susie on at the end, she has to listen to the whole episode in order to hear herself.
Yeah, and we tell her, it's somewhere in the middle.
No, that's not helping her mental health.
She'll have a jolly laugh.
Anyway, we love you guys. Remember to get into
Games on Air podcast. That's us. # mental health. Go team. Team Dinosaur. Susie.
So here is a quick story about board games and my mental health. When Brad and I first had Beanie, we were still relatively new as a couple, and suddenly we were just navigating parenthood together. It was a huge adjustment, and life got really full really fast. And between figuring out how to be parents and how to be a team in this whole new way, we realized pretty quickly that we needed something that would help us stay connected, and not just as parents, but as us. So that's when we kind of started playing board games together. So it would always be at night after Beanie was finally asleep, and it wasn't anything big. It was just, a small way to wind down, laugh a little, and have something that felt like it was ours. And it really helped us connect when there wasn't so much energy left over after, keeping this teeny tiny human alive all day. Then we got to the pandemic, and our collection was only about 15 odd games big at this point, and it really blew up during those months when we were just bored. And I actually started sharing little moments on Instagram. I didn't really have a plan. I just thought it'd be fun to post about what we were playing. And over time, it actually started to reignite this creative spark in me that I'd lost and I didn't realize I'd really been missing. I started enjoying the whole process, taking photos, writing little captions, being playful and expressive again. And it gave me an outlet of something that felt like it was me again, something that wasn't just mummy. And then obviously through that, I stumbled on this amazing online community of board gamers, people who were kind, funny, supportive, and just genuinely lovely. And it wasn't just about the games. It was people who also had crippling anxiety like myself, who needed an outlet in this time. And I finally felt like I'd found my people. And that's a bit cheesy, but and even though I hadn't met most of them in person at that point, those friendships and that sense of community just became something that I really started to lean on. So board games kind of became so much more than just a hobby. It gave me and Brad a way to stay close, and it helped me tap back into my creativity, and it connected me to a whole world of people that I didn't really realize I was missing.